After 11 years in the big leagues, you went into being a coach, on roving instructor.
Yeah, I was the roving infield and base running coordinator for the Montreal Expos, which was, I did that for 1 year. Very lucky to spend time with Perry Hill, who I consider the best infield instructor in the big leagues. Learned a tremendous amount from him. Got to spend a lot of time with several players that played in the big leagues, but one in particular that stood out for me was Brandon Phillips, who I spent a lot of time with. I really enjoyed spending time with Brandon. He's a great kid, loved to play. So I did that for 1 year, and then Tony LaCava, who is now the assistant GM for the Blue Jays, became the farm director in Instructional League of the only year that I rode. Tony has a lot of experience in the game. He'd been a scout. As we're going, I remember taking a car ride with Tony up to like Vero Beach. We were playing a game, and I said, Tony, I have an opportunity to go scout up with San Diego. I said, I think I'd like to explore that end of the game, and asked his opinion, and he encouraged me to do it. So I went back to work for San Diego for Kevin Towers, who I work for now, along with Mac Hayashi, who's sitting here. And spent 2 years there, and then Theo Epstein, who I had known well. I actually knew Theo when I played. He was an intern when I was playing, so I got to know Theo then. Got the GM job in Boston. I went to Boston like 3 days after he got the GM job. Spent 9 years there, and then I've been back working for Kevin for the last 2.5 in Arizona.
It wasn't just working there. I mean, you got all the way to senior vice president with Boston, and you turned there from never having won a World Series for 100 years, whatever it was, and you turned into that big machine that it is now, and sold out all the time and that. I mean, you had the big league career, you were a player, and then you go to nearly the top of the tree in the administration side of it. It's got to be a big buzz for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is. When you're out here working, you've been here for 2 weeks. When you go to work, you go to work. You don't really think about all the other things going on around you. You just try and do the job to the best of your ability. I was just a piece of the puzzle there. I was, spoke in the wheel, and there was a lot of people that worked hard. And, very fortunate to work for a team that had a lot of resources. And resources are really good in this game. And, Theo was very, and still is, a bright young executive, one of the best executives in the game. And, fortunately, the team won 2 World Series. And, players win World Series. Players win games, as managers will tell you. The people sitting upstairs and just going along for the ride.
That's still a thing, but from where I was coming from, I mean, you started off as a player and you broke down barriers for all these young kids now go to college and then play in the big leagues, and then for the rest of us that couldn't play the game, we can get jobs in baseball because you've broken down the barriers, and you said, you know what, as you said, 30 years ago, you were going to work in a front office for a major league team? You're kidding yourself, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you've opened up so many avenues for us all to get work in baseball.
I wouldn't say I opened them up. I mean, everybody opens up their own avenues. Everybody creates their own opportunities. It does help that they can say, okay, there's this guy from Australia that was able to play, and then so there's going to be more. There's this guy from Australia that is able to evaluate players. I'm sure there's other people. So, the job you have with Baltimore is an important job. You created that opportunity yourself. They don't hand out jobs in this game just because, I like this guy, and go out and have a beer with him. You have to be able to, bring something to the table.
And now you've moved to the board of the Australian Baseball Federation, which I think is fantastic, bringing back as much information as you can to help out with the young guys. Is there anything quickly you need to talk about that at all?
Well, I think, you and I have talked a lot about this. And Midnight Mark Marino, we've talked a lot about this, and John Deaver, and all the guys that are out there really doing the hard work, Damian Shanahan and Glenn Williams, and the different high-performance guys in each state. Look, there's a lot of things I think we would all like to see happen in Australian baseball. There's initiatives that we're pushing and that we're trying to move forward. And one big one for you is the Alumni Association, which I think is a huge step forward for the game. There's other things that we want to do for players to help open up pathways for them, different opportunities, not just going to pro ball, but playing in college. We all have this vision of a home for Australian baseball, which if we can bring that to fruition, I think would be incredible for the game in the country. A spring training like facility in somewhere in probably the northern part of New South Wales, southern Queensland, to become a world-class facility. So there's lots of things we want to do. There's the new ABL, which is a really good vehicle for players to get exposure, and to have a professional league in your country is a good thing. You played in the old ABL, and my brother played in it for 10 years, and I was able to go and see games there, and it was very disappointing that it went away. So now it's back, and hopefully it can be very successful.
Okay, and look, really thanks for your time, and I can say from knowing you for well over 30 years, it's great you haven't changed a bit, and in that time, and you still talk to all the old idiots and that we used to be. But there's one thing that's been bugging me for well over 30 years, and a good friend of ours, Phil Dale, and I just happened to be on the bus. Go back, if you can remember, to 1979. It was an under-18 national championships. You were playing for New South Wales, and we were all on the Victorian team. Yeah. And we're driving out of old Auburn Stadium, and the great Phil Dale, the big gorilla, the great man he is, he swears, I was on the bus, he swears he was hit by a brick. And the rumour is that you threw a brick through the window of the bus and hit Phil in the head.
Well, it could have been one of 10 or 15 people. But yes, I guess we ambushed your bus coming out of Oriole Park, out onto Euston Road. We split up the New South Wales team. I don't know who came up with the idea. It was probably midnight, I would say. 7 or 8 of us on one side, 7 or 8 on the other side. And as your bus came out, left Oriole Stadium, we egged your bus, and obviously hit a few. We got a few through the windows because they're open. And the way the story was told to me is Phil, as you guys pulled out, and Phil's hitting the head, and Phil's all of a sudden screaming, "Oh, I've been hit in the head by a brick! I'm bleeding! Let's stop the bus!" And so the bus gets stopped, and the lights get turned on, and all of you guys go, "Oh, Phil, you got hit by an egg."
You'd swear he would have been shot the way he carried on. But anyway, Craig, thanks so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it, and all the very best for the future.
Thanks for the beer.
Okay, thank you.